it has evolved. And I will tell you that honestly, I am a little surprised at how much power can be asserted by the president without the actions of the House and Senate. Now, having said that, most of what President Trump has done in recent days with his executive orders are nothing more than his direction to his administration, to his departments, to do X, to develop plans to do X. Now, once they develop the plans, they have to find a member of Congress to introduce that and then move it through the process. Now, it doesn't mean that it can't be done, but it's not going to be an edict. By virtue of putting out an executive order, something will happen. Now, the emoluments clause is kind of an interesting issue because, you know, it dates back to our very beginnings. And frankly, none of us knew what an emolument was until a few months ago. Most of us didn't know what an emolument was. So the emoluments clause basically says that an officer cannot benefit from goods or services from a foreign government. And the founding fathers were really interested in making sure that, you know, we weren't persuaded by money and bribes and the like. Makes sense. No one has come to the presidency with so much intertwining with different companies and interests around the world than President Trump. Now, I think there's no question that he's violated the emoluments clause on the very first day. He did.
Yes.
Now, what's interesting is the emoluments clause says that the president cannot receive that goods or services unless he has the approval of the Congress. Now, I suppose that since there is a majority in both the House and the Senate, that they could pass a blanket approval of anything that he receives as a result of his presidency and his ownership of all of these various interests. I think that we can't even assess the emoluments clause until we know what his tax return looks like. And what's interesting and disturbing is that during the campaign, President Trump always said, as soon as the audit's over, I'm going to release my tax return. Ms. Conway on Meet the Press this weekend basically said he's not going to release his tax return. So I don't know where that stands, but as a constituent of the president, you can certainly make your opinion known to him. So I'll leave it at that. I do think that there are bills that should be introduced that probably won't be passed in this Congress because of the makeup of the House and Senate, to make sure that the checks and balances are more discrete and specific than they have always been. Now, having said that, you know, President Obama issued an executive order that gave children of undocumented residents the ability to stay in this country, go to school, and work. He did that by executive order. So, you know, executive orders have been used as an independent way of acting by a president without the benefit of the House and Senate taking action. Yes?
I'm really concerned about the gag orders that have been placed on federal agencies for public facing. I'm from a science background, and I want to know what you can do about that and what we can do about that.
So this is a very disturbing thing that has happened, again, by executive order, that we're going to have to take very, I think, decided steps to try and address. First of all, there's been a freeze put on filling any vacancies in the federal government. Now, I've contacted the VA in San Francisco and the VA in Palo Alto. And there are hundreds of vacant positions right now at both those facilities. Doctors, hospital workers, persons to clean up the hospital beds. And I've got to believe that the president does not want our veterans to be treated in unsanitary conditions or not be treated at all because there's not a physician to provide the service. So, again, that's very troubling. The extent to which that actually is in place is still something that we have got to review. I haven't specifically read that executive action to determine whether or not it's recommending or saying departments should start to take steps, or is it an ironclad action to freeze. As to the gag order, it deeply troubles me, and I think suggests to all of us that we've got some issues here. One of the things that happened during the time of transition was that the president-elect wanted to have a naming of all those who worked on climate change, you might remember. And the scientists came forward and refused to provide that list. Yes?
Hi, I'm Fran, and I don't necessarily have a question, but I just wanted to communicate my view and then just put out a reminder or an encouragement to really just focus on money. So,
You're so polite. Louder for some of us, please.
oh, sure.
You
So
know,
my
repeat the
voice
question.
doesn't carry much. So first of all, thank you for coming today. I voted for you, and I'm glad that you're here. So thank you for listening to us. Right now, it's great that a lot of people are engaged where they might not have been before, but there's so many distractions right now. The media can be distracted, we can all be distracted, and I just wanted to encourage you and whoever is listening to just focus on a few things, because there's so many things being thrown at us, and he really is the king of distraction. So, and he's completely capitalized on it. So, I really believe that the heart of the matter is money. So, my primary concern has always been economic injustice. And we have racial divide in this country, mostly because we were trying to make money, so we have slaves, ancestors of slaves living in this country. And it started with money. We have gender divide, we have social injustice, and a lot of that stems from money. And, you know, I know that there's a lot of criticism of his cabinet right now because of how rich they are. They're the richest cabinet that's ever existed. But I'm really concerned that people like Rick Perry, who, you know, we're not talking enough about, you know, it's fun to make fun of, you know, Betsy DeVos and the things that she says. But, you know, Rick Perry has strong, he's currently still on the board of Energy Transfer Partners. And that has very much to do with why
Trump's there.
and Trump is invested in the Dakota Access Pipeline. So all of these connections with his money, his purse, his cabinet's purse, they're all in conflict of interest. All of that money is being sucked out of our, so now I'll get to Betsy DeVos, it's gonna get sucked out of our education system, which I'm concerned about. We have healthcare issues that we all know about and are concerned about. We're the richest country in the history of the planet, but we have 50% of our people still working poor. They're on hourly wages. We have, you know, we know what rents and housing prices are like here in the Bay Area. We have low income. We're fighting for like the $15 an hour minimum wage in this day and age. Median household income has not increased in the last decade. include, medical